Now, Nigeria's power generation dropped by 502.7 megawatts on Tuesday as members of the National Union of Electricity Employees and their counterparts in the Senior Staff Association of Electricity and Allied Companies grounded the nationwide operations of the Transmission Company of Nigeria the same day, shutting down operations at the facilities and threatening to begin an indefinite strike from today, that's Wednesday. Speaking during the protest at the headquarters of the TCN in the Federal Capital Territory, the NUEE Secretary in charge of Abuja, Niger, Nasarawa and Kogi Liaison Office, Kolade Ayodele, said the TCN's board, which had Power Minister as member, had reneged on agreements reached with the unions. Well, don't forget, we still have Dr. Dayo Kayode. He's going to help us make sense of these conversations. Dr. Dayo, let's look at the issue with the power generation in Nigeria for a very long time. Now, you mentioned one time that in your times, before any blackout happens or any issue comes up, there's a nationwide announcement, and on or before the speculated time, power is restored. It's supposed to be a progressive system, but we are seeing it now. It's looking like a retrogressive system, and over the months this year alone, we've had a lot of good collapse, and now there's a strike looming. Now, what's the hope of businesses that depend on the little hours of electricity they have to be able to make money? Well, make money and boost the economy.
Yeah, you see, what we have now in this country is beyond all these incessant strikes.
Okay.
Incessant strikes in all the sectors of the economy. Rather, all these things are being fueled by two things: leadership connivance against the people, as well as the national greed of our leaders that is not now allowing the national greed to work.
Okay, you want to elaborate on that?
Sure.
Okay.
Now, when you look at the agreement that is said they have signed, listen, why is it difficult to follow what two people have agreed upon? It's just like a football match. You definitely have the goalpost, and you have rules and regulations guiding it. You need not go against all those rules and regulations. You need not. At the middle of the game, not even at the middle of the season. Because if any rule is going to be changed, you will have seen all the FAs coming together, agreeing on it, and say, okay, look, this thing will be changed in the next 2 seasons, not even the next one. They will have given you notice, enough notice, and everybody will have studied it. Everybody will have looked at the pros and cons. So even if you are having any contrary opinion, any contrary view, you will put it forward before that. So why are we having all this, if not because some people are being selfish? But I was reading the news yesterday. Some said that the PMs are being called for interview before they can move to the next level, and the EU are now saying, look, this thing is not in their condition of service. It is not the way that the progression, staff progression within the organization is being explained in the condition of service. It should now go deeper. You find out that some people somewhere are trying to disengage people, some people, through that exam, and then bring in their own people. Okay. Or uplift their own people. peradventure there are some repentant whatever, repentant in question mark now, that have been brought in, and now they want them to come and now be leading all those. So you can see where leadership grid now comes in.
Okay, let's look at some of the issues raised. Again, the agreement was signed in 2019, and
just how many years ago?
3 years ago, which according to them, the federal government has failed to yes, to agree. They've not paid some of the staff. Again, this is emanating from why
have they not paid some of the staffs? Is it that termites have also eaten up the money or the receipts?
The privatization process from PHCN to TCN and all of that. That's the claim of the workers now. There were talks that some of them during that transition they didn't get paid, and up till now they've not been paid. Now there's also the place of the Electricity Act of that supersedes the circular that is going round for them. Why, the question would be, why is the federal government signing agreements it knows it cannot adhere to, or it will that she fails to adhere to? Because right now, we've talked about ASU over time. We sound like a broken record on that. This is about, the electricity workers now. This agreement was signed just 3 years ago. Before we get down to the various parts of those agreements, there's the issue of payment. Why haven't they paid since 2019?
You also have to look at the systocratic tendencies of the government.
Okay.
The systocratic in terms of deceit, lies, all sort of. Okay? Because they will tell you, the government will tell you, look, we don't have money to pay this, to pay that, and to pay this. But on the other flip of it, you will see them spending money on frivolities. You see them spending money on frivolities. Samson, how much is ASU requesting for? How much have we used, Nigerian government used, to construct rail line from Nigeria to the Niger Republic? How much has Nigerian government used to buy cars, security cars, claim security cars with our money for the Niger Republic, and so many other things like that? So where do we place that? How much money are we using, or is the presidency using, on health tourism? How much money are being used to be changing the cutlery in that same ASU Rock in our budget every year? I don't know whether you understand. So why are you now telling me that these people will not go on strike? How can you be saying this, but on the flip of this, on the flip of it is another thing? So it's a big issue, a very big issue. That's what we call trust gap. There's a big trust gap between the people and the government.
Okay, I agree with that. Okay, now I just, when it comes to the electricity sector, every other sector of Nigeria, the issues are so broad, so you can really not think a particular one and dwell on it for so long, because it will lead to another. Now, lately we've had
both energy and power
percentage hikes, large percentage hikes in electricity tariff, and yet very, very, very reduced power supply. So is that coming from, is that a fault from the government, or from the distribution companies, or from the generating companies? And I'm trying to understand where that is coming from.
You see, you cannot really place it on one person or on one subsector,
okay,
or subsector. There was a time here, the Gencos said that they are generating more than enough,
yes,
that even discos cannot be able to contain it. But still, we are having what? Power failures. But meanwhile, you see us giving 24/7 light to other countries. To other countries. How do we place that?
But then that's the concept between that's the concept in the irony I'm talking about, because I won't
and that's what I'm saying. And that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. This government is full of deceit. And that's why I call it decitocratic government. All right? And it's so unfortunate. So unfortunate. They have so much tuned the brain of a larger percentage that even when people like you and I are talking, they will say, don't mind him, conditioning. It doesn't have something to do. But leave them. Leave them. Somebody embezzled NSITF money. Abi? NSITF. And he's telling me that I cannot bring out those receipts. That termites had eaten it up. Somebody embezzled 35 billion and is telling you to face that snake has swallowed the 35 billion. Another one, baboon, ate it up. And you are saying we should not talk. And when you are talking, they say, don't, please leave them. 4 years or so. Should it be like that? So what I'm saying is, even we the people are the one encouraging it. Because when we don't say as a people, we are stopping this, it will continue. They will say, don't mind. They will say 4 years. The 4 years, let me spend it, use it to my pockets. Because I know that after 4 years, I will come down and these people will not say anything. And when I'm being taken to court, they will say plea bargaining. Look at Magu's case. Look at Magu's case. Look at what the report said. Where is Magu today? What is going to happen to Magu? Look at the two people, the two politicians that were jailed the other time for fraud. Have they returned the money? Have they not been released? Have they not been prepared for another political position now? So it's about we the people that are causing this problem. And I will always place the problem in front of the people, because I will continue to tell the people. A people that refuse to emancipate itself will perpetually emaciate.
Let's look at, just as we wrap up this conversation, let's look at some of the demands beyond the issue of payment or non-payment. There's also the place of some staff being laid off as a result of that transitioning. Again, that wasn't in the agreements they signed with the federal government in 2019. So where's the place of continuity in this? Because I mean, they are as good as civil servants in their own rights before the transition now. So why is the federal government not ensuring that security, job security is there for some of the staff? Because that's one of their complaints, aside non-payment and all. Then, just before you answer, another concern is the head of service, for the federation, shared a circular that had to do with this, issue of dismissal and all for new folks to come on board. Should that override an electricity act? Ideally, in a sane climate, the act should override whatever circular that is in place.
It is still about the people, the workers. What have they been looking at since then till now? When you know some of your staff were being laid down at that time, what did you do as a union? What did you do as a union? Why should you wait till this time? Since you didn't do anything at that time, they know that this time around, when they let some of you off again, there is nothing we will do. You only back, you won't be able to bite. So why don't you go full hog at that time when some people were laid off, and ensure that they are being brought back before you resume duties? And even when they bring some other people from outside, just because they know that the employment market is saturated, when they bring some other people, you still don't allow them to enter. Because that is what we call the laws guiding union activities. Laws guiding union activities. The moment there is a breakdown in understanding, The moment there is a breakdown in what you guys had signed, then you allow that breakdown to continue. It's supposed to be an eye for an eye. The time of ecclesiastic belief has gone. It has gone. It has to be an eye for an eye, and people should learn how to go about that. Listen, the other time when we're talking about payment or ransom to terrorists, I said if only the government is sincere. Yes, it's a pity that when there is an imbroglio, some people will suffer it. It's either some people suffer it immediately, or every other person will suffer it. I mean, nobody. If at that time they had not been paying, that is, if there is sincerity, mark that, they have not been paid, by now all these things happening wouldn't have been happening. If at that time the EU, or what's the name of their union, had decided, now you have laid some people off, we are going to lay down our tools till you bring these people back, then you know that yes, these guys are serious people. By now all this would have been there.